now for our PIX panel, and joining me this morning is the city's Katie Honan, Bernadette Hogan, she's the bureau chief, City Hall bureau chief of the New York Post, and PIX political reporter Ayana. Good to have all three of you here. And I do want to begin with the Adams administration, right? The first deputy mayor, Lorraine Grillo, now the latest to depart the administration. This after Frank Carone said he was leaving two major positions in the first year, right? So Bernadette, let me begin with you because you are the City Hall bureau chief. Is this normal when it comes to staff changes? What do you make of it?
Well, look, you've got two major positions in a brand new administration, right? Mayor Eric Adams has only been in office less than a year, and already he's got two big people, two generals, honestly, of his administration leaving. And while you might have other staff that are able to fill those roles, et cetera, it's also about optics. Why are these major positions leaving? However, when Carone and Grillo joined the administration last year, or the beginning, I'm sorry, of this year, they did say that they were planning on only staying about a year, maybe a little bit longer. However, it's still not a good look to have two of your top people leaving so soon.
Yeah, I mean, that's the narrative. Ayana?
Yeah, Dan, I think it raises the question, who is close to the mayor inside City Hall? Who has his ear? Who is he, collaborating with? And so it still remains to be seen with these key figures inside City Hall leaving. As Bernadette mentioned, they both said they were only going to be on for a limited time, but it almost seems like they were, opening up an escape hatch before they even began.
So Katie, any information on who will actually take over the positions? And there has been some names floated around within the administration already that they may just get bumped up.
Yeah, there's a bunch of names floating around, a lot of rumors. I caution to name anyone in particular just in case, who knows, and I'll get a rude email saying that I'm totally wrong or something. But yeah, there's a lot of speculation. These are very powerful positions. First deputy mayor, a chief of staff position, and as Bernadette talked about, it's sort of this idea of who is close to Mayor Eric Adams, who's in his inner circle, who wants to get promoted, and who maybe wants to get in the administration, who isn't in it right now.
Yeah, so we'll see how that all plays out. Okay, but following midterms, right, that was a big news last week. A number of New York seats went red. Now Mayor Adams receiving the brunt of the blame by city Democrats who say the mayor actually played up Republicans' issues in their campaigns rather than his own party. So Bernadette, the mayor has been critical of the state's bail reform laws from really day one in office. How did that play into the Republicans' favor, if at all?
Right. I mean, it's not just bail reform. It's also just crime in general, right? But even before this midterm election, Mayor Adams ran and won on the idea that he was going to clean up crime in the city and that he was going to bring back, integrity or just, a sense of order and support the cops. Now, Democrats, just hearing from people on the ground, they were saying, listen, Democrats didn't have a message. They were not able to articulate how they were going to keep New Yorkers safe and talk about crime in a way, as opposed to saying, listen, crime is a national issue. It's happening everywhere. So Adams is getting blamed a little bit by talking about, quote unquote, Republican talking points. However, crime is something that whether you're a Republican or you're a Democrat, people want to be safe. It doesn't matter. So, I think this also goes back to some of the campaigns, right? There's accusations of the Democratic Party that Governor Kathy Hochul herself, her campaign, did not make inroads in certain communities, especially, Asian American, Latino communities. So that's a big problem for them that they're going to have to figure out.
Yeah, there were criticisms of Governor Hochul. I was speaking with a council member who represents a community deep in Brooklyn. She said, I simply didn't see Governor Hochul in my neighborhood and our communities during the campaign. We also heard that same criticism from people in Rockland County in the Hudson Valley. So it seems like this is sort of political finger pointing after the election. And Democrats need to find a way to move forward from this point. And I don't know if necessarily blaming Eric Adams is going to help, especially because the mayor seems to be unfazed by it.
All right, so let's talk about also the big news that came out of Rikers Island, right? It will remain in the hands it's going to remain in the hands of the city at this point in time, right? So, Katie, what comes next then? Because there's been this back and forth of a federal receivership versus the city, and I feel like we've been talking about this for some time. What comes next?
Well, I think a lot of people say that the judge's decision on Thursday just really kicks it down the road in terms of what's going to happen at Rikers Island. A record number of detainees who've died on Rikers Island, major concerns about the conditions on Rikers Island for the people there, and a lot of complaints about correction officers and what's been happening as well. So I think this sort of just delays what a lot of people think should happen, a federal receivership. We've had a lot of people come out in favor of it. And the judge's decision on Thursday just seems to delay what a lot of people think should already happen.
Yeah, and Ayana, the mayor's office adamant that this federal takeover will actually not resolve any of the problems overnight. So It doesn't seem like it's happening. What do you mean?
A federal receiver could actually solve some problems on Rikers Island literally overnight. Right now, there are union regulations in place, city contracts that have to be abided by, you know, that govern things like unlimited sick time on Rikers Island. If a federal receiver were to take over, they wouldn't have to abide by those same rules. So they could literally on day one say unlimited sick time is over. Either you come back to work or you're fired. So a federal receiver could make some change inside Rikers Island literally overnight.
All right, but they're adamant that it would not. Right? They want more time to do the changes themselves.
Yes, yes.
Okay, all three of you, soccer fans, yes, no, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I'm not.
Not quite. I don't want to claim it. I don't want to claim it.
Because there is that big news out of Queens that they could get a soccer stadium. We're out of time here, but I think that's huge news that I just got to sneak in there for the borough of Queens, especially around the area of Willett Point. All right, good to have all.
Housing. That's the other big thing. The affordable
What?
housing too.
Affordable housing,
Not just
too.
soccer. Affordable housing.
Affordable housing as well, yeah. The Queensborough president was on our show the other day talking about that very issue. Katie, Bernadette, Ayana, good to have all three of you here. Have a great Thanksgiving, okay?
Thanks.